That's it. Really slow connection. Okay.
Tell Nick that's because the camera's on. If he wants me to turn the camera off, he'll speed his connection up.
Okay, Nick. Andrew says if you want your camera turned off, it would speed up your connection. If you want Mr. Mercer to turn your camera off, that would speed up the rest of your connection.
It's his choice.
Your choice.
Sorry.
He must be thinking about it.
Okay, so somebody asked what influenced you to play. Now, I think you talked about that a little already.
Yeah.
Well, what about, okay, one second. Tell them that I said, ask, do you have any advice?
Mr. Mercer wants you to ask me if I have any advice. That's a really good roundabout way of asking the question there, Mr. Mercer. Tell them to ask, and I'm the one telling them. That's funny.
That's right.
What was the one before? Was it, you said I sort of answered already, but
what influenced you to play bass?
Oh, okay. Yeah, just that love of the low end sound. I feel like that has so much power and adds so much to a band. Also, I guess because it's a little different. You know, it's not. There's not as many bass players as there are guitar players, and I kind of like that a little bit. You know, stand out a bit. Plus, you never ever stop. Like in a song, your keyboard player in a rock band might be out for a while, but the bass just is always going. Right, the bass and drums are the foundation of everything. So I guess I just enjoy that role and the sound.
Do you remember the brand of your first bass guitar?
I still have it. Yeah, it's a Washburn. Washburn is the one I have.
Is that what you still play? Same one?
It's the same one I still play. I've only ever owned one bass for like 20 years or so. 20, maybe almost 25. I'd like to get a new one within the next year or two. I'm thinking about getting a 5-string bass. Now, for those who don't know, most basses do have just 4 strings. But you can get them with 5 and 6, and in some cases more. The 5-string bass adds an extra low one, so that from this lowest note, I could go down another little ways. A lot of the heavier bands you guys listen to maybe use 5-string basses, or they tune this one lower, so they can play a lower, sort of heavier sound. But a 5-string bass will let you do that. I'd like to get a 5-string fairly soon. That's a pretty cool thing. You can also get 6 strings where they add an extra high one, and that would be great for someone who's into, like, you know, jazz soloing, and they could go, you know, extremely high on the solo part. There's a picture of a 5-string bass coming up there now.
Yeah, I should see that right now.
Yeah. But it's still play, even with a 6-string bass, you still play it the same way as this 4-string, in that you don't play chords, although it's possible, it's just not very common to play chords. A bass's main role will be to support the guitars and the keyboards and stuff, and play either single notes or to outline the chord one note at a time like I did before.
Josh says he just saw a 7-string bass for sale on eBay last night.
Cool.
And I asked him how much.
How much, Josh, for the 7-string bass? Do you remember? And is that Canadian or American?
That's right. I think it's been $800.
$800, yeah. Not surprised at all by that.
Somebody else said here, Kyle said, is there any advice you can give us on tips on how to make playing a lot easier?
Kyle's asking for tips on how to make playing easier. You know what I would do? For me, one of the best bits of advice I could give you would be that getting better on any instrument, or almost anything in life really, is a combination of motivation and time. If you're really interested in doing something and you are willing to spend time at it, you will get better at it. And that's especially true for a musical instrument, you know. So, in terms of advice, plug in the time that you need to do. I also, in particular for bass, I usually get my students to work a lot with their pinkies at first, because bass players use their pinky a fair bit. For example, if I want to play these 2 notes, I'm using the index finger for the low one and my pinky for the high one. Because between your 1st and 4th finger you can reach further. So I can go like to because I'm using my pinky and I'm getting that extra bit of distance. And I'm sliding up the string as well, but I wouldn't be able to reach quite as far if I wasn't using the pinky. and it's a weak finger for most of us. You got to spend time practicing it, and just use it a lot. And in terms of advice, that'd be just it. Lots of time, a few specific exercises like anything that gets you to exercise the pinky, and your right hand using 2 fingers on the strings. So I'm alternating first and second, and working on getting those even and quick, and you're most of the way there.
I said lift pinky weights.
Yeah, pinky weights.
Let me see what else we got here. Why don't you talk about maybe some practice habits, like say when you're actually working on a piece of music, like how would you do, like slowing down maybe, or things like, and you're not hearing me now, so you can say that.
Mr. Mercer's saying about like practice tips on, would you slow a song down, or in terms of learning the song by ear, the thing I would probably do most is just take small pieces, like bite-sized pieces. You're not going to put on the entire song and try and learn the entire song. I'd work on what the verse was, and when you guys, if you're starting out on it now, you're going to be a lot better off than when I started off, because you could just go online, get chord changes for almost any song. Tabs are out there, less for bass than there is for guitar, I think, but there's still plenty of tabs out there for bass. So you can get an idea right away where to start. But I think if I'm learning the song by ear, I'm going to take the verse and I'm going to go over that part and learn it and figure out what the bass player is doing. Because sometimes, these guys who are playing in bands aren't trying to just be exact about the chords. They're having fun, so they want to add things and experiment a bit. So I'd listen specifically what they're doing. If I'm the song might do this. I'm just repeating, but if I added a little extra note or two, I put my own little flavor on it, and the guy in the recording might do that or something like it. So you got to pick up all those little.
Just ask them if they heard that. That was really cool. Ask them if they heard that.
Did you hear that thing coming through? That'd be like a